hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, right? So if you can hear us, if you can see us, wherever platform you're watching this on, say hello, right? Say hello in the chat, say hello as a comment, whatever platform you're watching us. Let us know if you can see us, if you can hear us. It's going to be, we're going to make this a very interactive conversation. So, we need you to say what you want to hear, what questions you have. We are here to help you on your career, right? So the discussion today is going to about the skills gap, right? So what's missing? What do you need to improve? What are the things that maybe you would be nice for you to have, right? And do you really need all those extra things, or can you grow your career the way you are right now? So let us know. Say hello in the chat. Say hello from where you're watching us. I'd like to thank a few places. I'd like to thank SouJava, the Brazilian Java User Society, for hosting us in their channel. I'd like to thank Rafael Leonardo and Maximilian. We sometimes stream on their channels too, right? So thanks everyone for supporting us. Also would like to thank Gabriel on his channel, right? That we also stream on his channel too. So whenever you're watching this, say a quick hello. So I see Danielle. Hey Danielle, saying hello for us here. So that's good to have you here, Danielle. And just say talk to us here. Let's make this extremely interactive. And to make this very, very interactive, I want to bring in my two friends. I used to say them they're guests or they're organizing this, whatever, but they are actually good friends. It's so good to have them here. So let me first get here. He is a expert on architecture, right? He wrote a nice book about architecture, and he gives all kinds of good information about architecture. So let me bring in here Hugo Sakamoto. Good night, Hugo. How are you doing, man?
Oh. Hey, Bruno. Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for calling me. I'm very happy to be here with you guys. We are back with another session of Out of the Box Developer. It's an awesome place to discuss new things and also share our experience to anyone that will be helpful. Mm-hmm. And as Bruno said, please share your thoughts, share your what is your challenges that you're facing right now. We have I believe that we have many tips here, but it will be much more productive and much more valuable for you if we can also think about your specific difficulties. So yeah.
Right. Perfect. So I say hello to Thiago. Hey Thiago, how you doing? Hello, my good friend Max. Hey Max, how you doing, man? So good to be here with you. Awesome.
Hey, Max.
Okay, and then he is our main guest and participant here in the program. He is we start in the out of the box developers because of his inspiration, and it's an honor to have here the Java champion, the specialist in artificial intelligence, leader of the London Java community, Mani Sarkar. Hey Mani, how you doing, man? So good to have you here with us.
Hey, Bruno. Hey, Hugo. Great to be here back again. I mean, it felt a bit longer than 2 weeks this time. Is that because it was longer than 2 weeks? I know we were on holidays and...
It was actually longer than a month. It was 2 days longer than a month.
Oh, really? Okay. I need to look at the date again from when we did the last one. It's probably sometime in June we did, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, great to be here. Yeah, I think it was 10th or 11th of June when we did the last one. That's right. Wow. Time flies. But it's really great to be here and see the great audience. I can see familiar names there. Maximilian, as usual, Thiago, Danielle. I think Daniel has not been there in the recent ones, but it's great to be to see you here. Amazing, and always good to see my friends Hugo and Bruno. And I'm really not the main guy, actually. It's a teamwork. So if Bruno and I didn't agree on it together, it would not happen. So it was teamwork. It wasn't just me. So we both are co-founders of this. And obviously these days, since the last few months, Hugo has been very instrumental in helping us with many things. Like, it lightens our burden when a third person comes in and does all the little bits of administration, promotion, getting things together, and also being a host and contributing. So thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Bruno. And thank you to the audience. It's great to see them here this time, because last time we had a little bit of a technical issue and we missed out on them, but we are making up for it this time. Please come with all your questions. As Hugo said earlier, we are addressing skills gap. So please come to us with all your discussions, questions, and we'll just, go further with those discussions.
That's great. All right. So let me say hello here. I see here Nikita has joined us, right? Nikita actually had a great presentation this week at SoJava, right? Where he talked about open source, right? And so that's great to have Nikita here with us too. And Nikita is near you, Money. He's there. I think he does participate in the London Java community. He lives there in London, near you, man. So that's awesome. All right, so we're going to talk about skills gap, right? And actually, I just sent. I'm not sure you guys had a chance to see that, but I just sent an email. It's amazing, Money and Hugo, how many people I talk to that keep telling me that, oh yes, I need to improve this, I need to learn that thing. And once I do, right, once I learn this, once I master this other thing, and then I'm gonna do this other project, and then I'm gonna do this other thing, and then once I do all those things, I think I'm gonna get a promotion, or I think I'm gonna get a job, or then I'm gonna try to enter in that new company. Man, I understand. I do understand that skills gaps are a reality, but I'm always worried about this delayed lifestyle. I call this the delayed lifestyle. So people think that they need to do a lot of things, and eventually, right, they're going to be able to break through or to do that amazing things. So, do you guys suffer from those things too? Do you guys have this or how do you? I think we all suffer this a little bit, right? So we all think that we're not good enough. We need to be better. But how do we combat that, right? Manny, you're there on the spotlight right now. So, how do you combat that, man? How do you combat with yourself, and how you tell yourself, man, I'm good enough, or I'm ready, or I'm going to do this right now instead of waiting? How do we do that?
So, the answer, depending on what period of time you would ask this question to me in the last 20 years, the answer would have been different. Right. The answer today is that I have this term called on-demand learning.
Oh, cool. All right.
Only need to know basis learning, right? That itself tells you what I mean. So, for example, I can give you an example. There was a project coming up, and I didn't know it would have a certain component in it. But way before that, I started learning about it because I wanted to apply that somewhere. So I started learning about it in a whole different way. I did a tutorial, I did a course and all that, but I started building things with it, right? Programs, shell scripts, applications, and applying it. So because, and I only focused on that one thing, but it was only because it was needed, I learned it. I wasn't worrying about, oh no, there's so much happening in the data science, machine learning, AI, and ML world. I don't know all these things, and they're just racing forward. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried more about what's the next application that I need to create, and what are the elements in that application that needs to be built. What do I need to know to build those things? What do I don't know? And what do I need to refresh and brush up? When you do that, it's gap analysis, right?
Right.
So then gap analysis also, and then if you apply this, need to know basis learning, know only on-demand learning, learn only what you need. It's just like TDD, right? Write only code that you need and driven by tests, right? So, and then when you refactor, all the extra code is thrown away. So you never write more code than you need. So the test here is the demand for what you need to produce, right? Because test is like when you write a test, you're actually targeting something, right? And only when the target is reached, the test passes. So you got to do the minimum effort to create that test, to make the test pass, and then you keep repeating till it's full-fledged. The same thing with the skills gap. The skills gap is, we need to tackle it the other way around. Instead of saying, oh, I don't know this, instead of saying, okay, what do I need to build and apply myself, and then start from there, start from the problem, and then build a solution from it. So what do I need to build that solution? But so this answer is different than if you would asked me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, because I did the same things that you are coming across with your mentees and students and other people in the community and colleagues who are going helter-skelter with, and I did that as well. I went helter-skelter as well, but I kept, every 5 years I tackled it differently, and today I tackle it differently. So that's my answer to it.
That's nice. That's nice. I love what Nikita just said here, right? So, you feed your children every day, even though you don't yet know how to bake the best cake in the world, right? And your kids cannot wait for 10 years to learn how to bake amazing cake, right?
How to eat the best tasting cake. They just got to eat the cake every day, and one day they say, "Pa, that's really nice cake. I love your cake."
Right. That's great. Okay. All right. So so that's amazing, Money. I do think that I love when you mention the skills, like the gap analysis, right? The skills gap analysis. And I think it would be awesome if we can, I think that's today's a good day for us to talk about that a little bit more. But how about you, Hugo? How are you dealing with this difficulty of knowing if you're good enough or not, and how do you, Money did a great comparison, right? That you do TDD because you only write the code that you need, right? So you're always testing your code. You're always making sure that what you're doing is the right thing to do. So how we do this in our careers, Hugo?
Oh, well, I think that's a really good question, because I also suffer about creating expectations of ourselves and try to accomplish much more stuff. To one day you get some place that you believe it's the best place that you should be, or you can become. And in the end, I will use one thing that I think I learned from Bruno also, from you, Bruno, about that we never feel like we are ready for anything that is a little bit further, a further step from us. So I think trial and errors are a good way to be much more concerned on what you are right now, and better about yourself, than just keep thinking about what you could be, or you can or you need to be in a much far away. I think having long-term objectives is interesting. It's a good way to motivate yourself, but it also can be tricky to not being paralyzed with the idea of, oh, it's so far that I can't reach there. So breaking it in small steps, I think, helps a lot to make the first step, to make the first step, and then you will trick your mind to not be so fearful, so afraid of making progress. So I think that's one thing that I usually try to do myself. Okay, I have some great objectives in my life, in my career, but now I have to focus in one thing, in just one step. That is the only one thing that I can do, actually, because I won't do 30 steps ahead, 100 steps ahead at once. So I don't need to worry about all those big things. I still the only thing that I have to focus is the very first step that I need to take. So that's one thing that helps me.
I love that, right? Because when you're thinking, of course we need to think about the future somehow, right? It's not like completely ignore the future, but when we leave too much in the future is bad, right? And when we leave too much in the past is also bad, right? We keep remembering things. Oh, I did that, or so it's the most important thing for us to do is to live here in the present, and being here in the present, right? We do things in the present. So I like to bring in a guy. We just talked to him on the chat, right? And he is here with us, right? He is a leader at the So Java Java is a group. He's an evangelist at Zoop. innovation company here in Brazil, and a good friend of ours, Maximilian. Hey, Max, how you doing, man?
Hello, Max.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks for for having me. I was watching you guys through this week, and I'm really happy and excited to learn more about those things. So if I can contribute a little thing about those things with my experience, it will make my day. Just like that. Thanks
Wow,
again.
that's great. I'm gonna throw a question to you immediately, man. Right? So we're talking here about knowing that we're good enough, or knowing that when it's time to do the next move. So how do you know that you're good enough to do something?
Oh, it's a really great question, because it's hard because every day we asking those things to us, especially when you are trying to come into a new company and something like that. Well, I think that the first thing is we need to understand that we cannot know everything. So something happens and you need to deal with it. It depends the way that we deal with it. So I think that the first thing that we need to put in yourself and believe in yourself. Oh, I need to learn something. Go to there and try to learn it and make those things work, because we are solver problems behind of scenes. So, and of course, sometimes some experience is expected from you, but how can I do this? What I do is I try to do those things in my training session, in my coding, trying using open source and something like that, in order to learn those things. But it's hard to know everything, so you need to be open our mind to learn new things, and to realize that we need to learn those things and need to learn to learn. It's hard to do that, but we need to learn to learn. That's my answer for that. I
That's
think that
awesome.
we need to believe in yourself firstly, without, because anyone you believe in us, if you we don't do this
Mhm.
firstly. So that's my answer for that.
That's great, man. So I love. Look, I think this can open up all kinds of possibilities. I love the fact that if we are problem solvers, right, and we the first problem that we have is that we don't know something. We don't know how to solve something. So that's part of the solving the problem, right? So so then we can go and you can dig on that and learn how to do it, and then go and solve the problem. So that's awesome. That's an awesome insight right there, Max. And so, look, guys, I want to hear from you. You were watching us here, right? So send our questions, send your comments. What are the things that you're dealing with right now? What are the problems that you're dealing with? What are the challenges that you're dealing with in terms of learning, in terms of improving? So we can discuss that. It's an open discussion, and we can totally discuss those things here openly. So, Money, you talk a lot about the that 20 years ago you answered different, 15 years ago you answered differently. And I think that one thing that I love, that you always look back at the things that you did and the things that you learned, to use that as a basis to step forward and do the next thing, right? So, uh you know how do we do that? How do we use our experience? How do we do what you do, Money? How do we use our experiences to learn new things, to move forward, and instead of just being happy and content with what we already did, right? How do we use that to actually go forward to new heights?
So I mean, I think that's so. There are two parts to it. One is, I say this, and I've said this in my presentations in the past as well. There's two elements to it. One is you're born with it; it's innate, and then there's the other part, you hone it. Okay, the
Mhm.
hone it means you develop it, you earn it, you create it, because it doesn't exist. But there, some people have it, and then they have it. It's easy for them to hone. Some people have very little of it or not, and they have to work hard to hone it. And
Mhm.
then some people have it enough that they don't have to hone much. If you
Mhm.
follow what I'm saying, there are these three
So, so,
categories.
so just because you're using a word that it's kind of hard from sometimes, right? So when you say hornet, it's like
Hone, H-O-N-E. Hone means to develop it, to
develop,
create
right?
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
you mean like sharp the axe, right?
Exactly. It's
Sharp
like
the axe,
lots of
like wood.
practice, lots of hardships, lots of adversity will help you hone it, will make you battle tone, and will give you the, working out of the trenches, if you've heard of the terminology,
Yeah.
working out of the trenches. So you learn a lot from that. And then, but honing also is through practice mostly, right? But also life experience. So but there's also the innate quality, is like, there's one more quality there, is that you want to always improve yourself. So you see, there's two ways of looking at it. You are self-critical, but you're not saying I'm bad. You're saying I'm good, but I want to be better. There's a difference between that. I'm bad, I cannot do it. That's a negative spiral. But I'm good, I'm okay, I accept where I am, but I want to be better, right? Just like the people at the Olympics. Yeah? Every Olympics, they're beating the records from the previous one, not because running it in 9 seconds, whatever they do in 9 seconds is great. We don't need to do it any faster than that. But next Olympics, they'll beat it by 8 seconds and some milliseconds, and then the one after that, I'll be surprised to know there'll be a 7 seconds as well, right? Before you know the race, they fire the gun, they've already reached the target. So because they're competing, because they want to be better than what they want to beat their personal best. So you're comparing yourself to yourself, not because you're not good enough. It's because you're good, but you want to be better. You want to brace the boundaries. So that is a quality that you either have to come with, or you have to now develop it. Okay, so there, and I give you the 3 combinations. One, who already come with a lot of it, so they don't have to develop enough. They're the ones who come with some of it, so they're going to develop the rest of it. And the ones who don't come with enough of it, so they're going to work hard to develop it. So that belief you got to develop, that hey, I'm good. I accept, and everybody accepts me the way they are, and I accept the way everybody accepts me. But I want to be better. I want to be better than myself. Not I want to be better than other person, but I want to be better than myself, so I can do that same thing better. And this I did with everything that I did with technology. I wanted to learn TDD. I wanted to learn BDD because I didn't know how to do it. So I want to do better than that. Now I know how to do it, but I want to do it better than just the basic steps I learned, right? I want to be like the guys who created Cucumber JVM. I want to be like the guys who wrote the book, the TDD books. You have Bob Martin and Jason Gorman. I can go on with lots of names. And so now I'm role modeling myself to be doing things better than I have been doing compared to some of the work they have done. Not comparing myself with them, but what I can do and what they can do, right? So that's if you get that, then you've won half the battle. That's where many of us struggle, and that comes with courage, passion, ambition, all those words, all those emotions, all those things about ourselves. That's where it comes from.
Right. Well, a lot of people think that ambition is a bad thing. So
it's dependent where you're focused on. Am I right? If you're focused on your career, or maybe if you want to mastering a kind of technology, it's good. I think so. Am I right?
Yeah, it's very subjective. Like, see, anything is good or bad, right? Sugar is not good, but sugar is needed to bake your cake and to make it taste better, right? So same with everything else. Pastries and cakes, they're probably not good according to your doctor or anybody's doctor, but you need them to celebrate during celebration times. So what do you want? Too much of something is not good.
Too much of something, that's the correct expression I was trying to look for, right? Too much of something, it's usually not very good, right? So okay, that sounds great. All right, so today the discussion here today was the idea is for us to so Nikita says sugar is good when you need energy and fast, right? Yeah. Oops, I think we're all right, so yeah, I'm stepping on Hugo's toes here, right? So yes, so I think that like he said, so sugar is good, right? When you have an emergency, for example, you need energy fast, you need you need to run, or something, right? So that's important, right? So some ambition and some pride and some on what you're doing, right? All these it's always positive, right? But a lot of it might be a problem, right?
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I want to talk about, right? So we propose here today to talk about the skills gap, right? So does anyone want to define what the skills gap is, right? Or is there a gap on anything, right? What is the gap? What are we talking about here?
I can give it some light. So I was thinking about it because what is skills gap? Skills gap is actually an aberration. It wasn't there and it suddenly is there now, right? Simply because the market or the world outside or the industry or the business or academia is forward thinking, right? They want to build the next thing. We have all the basics actually. If you look at humanity in today's time, okay, it's something, not, it's a sensitive topic because some parts of the world don't have those basics, but in general we've achieved most of the things we need, right? We know how to print books, we know how to propagate knowledge, we know how to educate people, nutrition, medical care, the whole. We could stop, right, and not do anything more than that, but that's not it, right? As a human being, man or human being, we want to progress, we want to build the next thing, right? And so when we want to do that, and then everybody wants to do that, it starts right all the from the top of the food chain, right? You'll have some research academia wanting to do that. That means they want to hire people. That means they want industry. They want to educate those people. And the industry also wants to do that. That means industry will now start taking people from academia and do that. So to cut the long story short is that everybody wants to build something for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And for that, we need people who have more skills and talent than what we have just now. 20 years ago, a dual PhD was unheard of. Today, we have people sometimes who have triple PhD or double PhD and double masters. Not just that, today we have people who have masters in technology and masters in business. It's really unheard of 20 years ago. But today we have that because the demands of the industry is such, right? So now we are in a very, very competitive world where the industry, academia is asking for more and more and more. Suddenly there's skills gap, right? Because you come out of university, you come out of another company that is not so ambitious, and so their demands are less. And suddenly you see, oh, they want XYZ, but they want like 5 years of this, 22 years of that, 20 years of Java, 15 years of DevOps. Like suddenly you feel like, oh, I only did 10 years of it, right? And I just started learning Java like 20 years, 15 years ago. How am I going to produce 20 years of Java experience, right?
Right.
That's my explanation of skills gap, because it's the industry, academia, the outside world has created this need for something that either is not realistic or is realistic, but not many people can achieve it, or it's something they need and they'll want people to stretch themselves to reach that, right? So that is the illusion created of this is what we need, but this is what you have, so you have to stretch yourself to reach that. That's one angle to it, but that's actually quite a big portion of it. If you see, nearly 80% of everything falls in that. The 20% is probably other things we can discuss another time. So that's my answer to what a skills gap is. You guys will have another perspective of it, and I think that is also correct because there's more perspectives to this than one.
Right. So basically, what you're saying then, Mani, is that the skills gap is the difference between what I have right now and what the market is asking, right? Now, the question that when you say the market, right, it's such a big thing, right? As you said, right? You might be working for a company that doesn't have all those needs, right? And so, does the skill gap also depends on where you want to go, or what kind of company you want to go to, or kind of project you want to work on?
Yeah, definitely it does. As you said, like every company, like for example, let's take examples of the top companies like Twitter, Amazon, and Google, right? They are very ambitious. They're already thinking 10 years and 20 years from now how they're going to become XYZ, how they're going to achieve this. Like some companies are thinking of sustainability. Some companies are thinking of carbon print free, carbon neutral or carbon positive. So for all of that, you need to have a business structure that is totally replacing what we have just now in 20 years. But that means you need able people to be able to manage all of that. It's like a whole series of chain reaction, like a, like a CI/CD pipeline, where every component of the pipeline has to be set up and one will feed into the other, which means you need able people. And also with time, you need more and more abilities, or more and more people with similar abilities, right? So that's the demand supply gap, right, created there by the ambition by one single company or a set of, like, if 100 of the Fortune 500 companies in the world have these demands, immediately there's a skills gap created, because all the other companies who are following those 100 companies will also want to do something similar. So they'll
Right.
increase their demand, their needs, their ambition, and then all the others who are following it will do that. And so it's a chain reaction, right? Suddenly you'll see the market has, if you see now in London, salaries have gone up 30% in the IT sector, simply
Mhm.
because there's suddenly a vacuum in the IT sector. So because the demands have gone up, like there's more startups coming up and more companies coming up, then there are people out there. Everybody's becoming a CEO and CTO. Imagine every software developer in the Java community. You have 10 million people, right? Half of them became CEO and CTOs. Where will they find developers? They
Right.
themselves were developers, but now they're CEOs, CTOs. Suddenly there's a vacuum in the market, right? And then they want to build very ambitious projects using Java and what all technologies, you name it. So now they'll have to want to find people who are as good as them or better, because only then they'll be able to build and sustain this project, right?
Right.
Suddenly there's a skills gap, a vacuum in the market, because there aren't enough people, and that there arises skills gap. And this is what's happening now, and it'll
Right.
continue to happen.
And one interesting thing when you think about those companies, right? One interesting thing is that there's a quote I love from a guy called William Gibson. He's a fiction author, and he says that the future, it's already here. It's just not evenly distributed, right? So when you look around, you might see all those companies and all those projects. They're very futuristic, right? And so the future is not the future; it's the present, right? So
Exactly. It's now.
just that there's a few companies, a few people doing those things right now, right? And then everyone else is like, oh man, that's the future, right? But actually, for some people, that's already the past, right? One thing that I recently felt very, very strongly this is when the pandemic hit, right? And then there's a lot of people working remotely before the pandemic hit, right? Me myself, I've been working fully remotely since 1998, right? And so when the pandemic hits, lots of people are like, oh, the future is remote, right? But for me, it was the past, right? Like, I was working for, 15 years already, right? Or more. I was working actually 20 years, right? I was working for 20 years remote, right? And then everyone's like, oh, yes, the future is remote, right? And then suddenly that one very, very specific piece of the future, that is, people were able to work fully remote and would be able to be mobile and would be able to work from home. That piece of future, that for me was 20 years in the past, right? So companies just kind of, everyone, it was not evenly distributed, right? So then in a week, right? In a month, this future became evenly distributed, right? Everyone start working remotely. So if you apply this to everything else, right, to artificial intelligence, to huge microservice projects, to I don't know, so many other things, right, to virtual reality and robotics and IoT, right? If you apply that, and you can see that there are some people that are way ahead, that they're doing some innovative things, and they're experimenting and they're applying those things, and then suddenly everyone else like, oh man, we got to do that too, right? And then and so you're saying, Manny, that's when the skill gaps happen, right? So when people
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
behind.
And I actually really like that the future is here. It's not evenly distributed. And that is so true, because it is now. There is no past or future. It is now. It's now is just continuously happening. I think there's another term called parallel time. which is time is happening all at the same time. There's no past or future. There's a present only. And yeah, that's really, some people have grabbed the piece of the pie earlier than some other people. It's like the relay race, right? Somebody's got the bait in to run the relay race earlier than somebody else. Someone else is still running to pass it on, but some people have already got it. And so, like, you have the pioneers out there who are making those those steps, and they are the ones who are creating the skills gap, because they are absorbing all the people from the market to fund their projects, to support their projects. And suddenly everybody else who's just come a little bit later with the same idea or similar idea, or maybe a bit diluted idea, they don't find anybody in the market.
Right.
Well, if I would add some my thought about the skills gaps, at least for me, I think it's not just the expectation of the market, but expectation of ourselves. I think it's a very common. We ourselves, at least for me, it's very common to look at myself and tell to myself that, oh, I should be good in this or that because I'm already this or that. Or we create expectation for ourselves also. So and that might be some gaps that we can find in ourselves. Like now I know this, but I should be knowing that or doing that anything else to achieve my own expectations. So that's one thing I think is much more personal, but real also, real gaps that we see and try to solve, or never solve, at least, because we always there are many people that always will be judging himself with a higher role. And another point that I would like to bring here is about the expectation when it comes from markets, from others. A thing that I really see that we should be aware is that most of time most of companies don't really know what to expect from their who they want to employ. So they are looking for the highest rule, and then if they don't find anyone, probably they will understand that there's no one to fill that gap, and then they will start to go down. So if we always compare just to what we see on the market, on the LinkedIn or any job role, I think we have to understand that it's much more healthy if we see what kind of problem they are really trying to solve, and what and how your skills can address that. And maybe there's a gap of the real problem and what you need to know, and you can address those that is really important, not all the things that they are asking, but probably not useful for them, just because they want to raise their bar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. You guys made a couple of valid points he's made about the market is actually looking to get the best because they don't know who they want. Because obviously they don't want anything mediocre or anything less best, because suddenly if their demands become clear to them, then and if they've chosen someone who's not capable of it, then it's a loss of effort, right? And then have to train them, and they don't want to let them go, and there's all that complication. So they're always looking for the best, because if you have the best, you can mold them and adapt them to do anything that the company wants, right? So that's really a smart move. But yes, the company and the market sometimes don't know who and what they want. You just go and get everybody the best in that area.
Okay. So how about you, Max? What do you think about all that, man?
Well, actually, I agree with both perspective. Also, I think that I think that sometimes when we are looking for to the others, I think that is the most problem as well. We can see the market asking skills, is asking technology, asking knowledge, man, that don't have, and then we feel this, oh, this is a gap, I need to fill it. Or we can look into improving ourselves in order to be better than before, than yesterday, better today, like many says a few minutes ago. So, but also I think that another kind of gap that shows every day is when we are following those things on the web. For example, you see the people learning those things, new things are coming, and you watching to you, and oh god, I don't know what it is, I need to learn this, and you put those things in your to-do list. I will put that and put that and put that, and sometimes you find out, oh my god, I'm not so good as I think before. I thought before, I need to learn those things. Oh God, it's a big gap. I need to feel it. And it's a little problem because it looks like we are pursuing our tails, don't understand? Because we always looking for new things. And so I think that it's a question that I did in our So Java streaming session, if I'm not wrong, Bruno. I think that I said that, but I think it's a kind of gap that we need to handle it as well, because it's a gap that we put in your profile. Understand? We put for ourselves, not for the market or the company, or maybe it's pretty near to the Yugo said that we look into ourselves. But I see that if you don't learn those things, we will out of the time, you know what I'm saying? So you need to be updated. So it's hard to deal with. So, but I agree with you guys. I think that that the perspective that you put right here help us to understand more about this kind of gap. And sometimes you need to learn how to deal with it in a better way, because as you said, Manny, if you don't believe yourself, be confident to learn those things, new things. We will stop and thinking in a better way. Oh God, I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's the worst thing that we can do right now in our career if you want to grow up your career. That's thing, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's some very very cool thing you're saying there, Max. I was watching a psychologist talking about the problems of social media the other day, right? And one thing that she was saying that I think it totally applies to what you're saying here, Max, is that when we go to social media and and of course she's talking about in the more general public, not about the career specific part, but when you go to social media, what you see there is it's what people want to show, right? I mean, you don't see the reality, you see what people want to show. They're showing and some people might want to show the good parts, some people might want to show the bad parts, right? Whatever, right? What you're seeing is that you're seeing what those people want to show. So and so for me, for example, it's very rare, at least for most normal people, right? It's very rare that you go to social media to say that, oh, I failed today, and I did not know how to do it, or I had a problem, right? People just kind of say, oh yes, they go to social media to say when they did something right, right? When they succeeded, when they get a promotion, right? And so you look at that cut of real life that only sees the good parts, and then you look at your own life and you see my life sucks, right? I'm a terrible developer, I'm a terrible everything. Just look at everyone else. Everyone knows so much, right? They're writing blogs and they're having success, and they're developing this amazing application. They spend time doing such amazing things, and I'm here doing legacy work and doing testing and doing these boring things and all that. But the reality is that we only see what people want to show us, and they usually want to show us the good parts, right? And so then we compare ourselves to everyone, to all those other people, but we're not comparing ourselves to real people, right? We are comparing ourselves to the best view that people have of themselves, right? It's not even to the best of themselves, it's the best view they have of themselves, right? So if we try to compare ourselves to them, what happens is that we are comparing ourselves to something that's not real, that's some very unrealistic, right? So yeah, Max, I just want to expand a little bit on what you're saying. But guys, I want to point out here, Nikita said something very cool here, and he said that there's so many new roles, right? I mean, there's DevRel, develop advocate, develop performance engineer, develop success engineer. I mean, there's so many other roles. And, why do we have to compete with the 20 years experience in Java, right? When you can become like the first of so many amazing new opportunities and new positions right there, right? So how does that fit, Money? You're talking so much about the skill gap. How does this fit? I mean, these new positions, these new things that show up, how does this fit to the skill gap? How do we adjust ourselves to all those new things going on?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, I have been approached in the last 5 years or more by many different organizations with the DevRel and developer advocacy roles. For some reason, they thought it was a good fit for me, and somehow I shied away from it, and I continued to stay a developer. So I'm not too sure about the new roles. They kind of sound this. I might be less informed about it, so I'm going to still honestly say, to me, they sound other names to marketing roles with the developer name on that role. So developers will get attracted to it, but actually there's a bit of a marketing that's going on. Now, I know this from a couple of...
I understand that and I agree. I think we can have that discussion because I think that's valid. But I just want to bring back to the point that Nikita's talking about here. He mentioned a few roles, but you can expand to other things. You can say, artificial intelligence engineer or artificial intelligence performance engineer, right? Or I mean, there's so many new opportunities coming up, right? And do you think that all of them are just new names for the same things, or?
Oh, no, not true. That's correct, right? But I think what's happening is the developer role, and I think that's the other angle of the answer, is the developer role is broadening so much.
Mm-hmm.
And if the left shift movement, right? Shift left.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from what was on the right is now coming to the left, meaning everything that other people were doing is now coming towards what the developer must do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So developers do security, DevOps, cloud, you name it, testing, maintenance. You what's the slogan? Build it, ship it, maintain it, right? So now that role is becoming so broad, it's becoming extremely hard to find people to do all of those things, right? So I think the newer roles are sort of taking segments of that and simplifying it so that you still work in a team, and the shift left is not affecting an individual developer, but it has been handled, reorganized in a different way. But this is how I'm seeing it. And maybe, again, I don't know the whole idea, because sometimes these names can be ambiguous, because I'm used to the names that I'm used to. So I won't take up a job that says performance engineer unless it has to do with improving the performance of the system, right? Like performance testing and low level and low latency applications. That would be something I would definitely dive into. But unless that name is clear, I wouldn't go for it, right? Developer success engineer sounds more like you're liaising with the client, right? Then so see these roles are suddenly simply broken up and made easier. But I would go for something like a developer performance engineer, right? Because that's something I love doing, and it keeps me more focused on the role I already know and I'm doing, which is engineering, right? So yeah, I would go for some of the new roles if I can understand and relate it to the things I've already do and I want to do. If it is starting to seem foreign and they're trying to mix it up with some other things like marketing, then I will shy away from those roles. So that's my answer to these new roles that they're coming up with. Sometimes it's the same role given another name, so it's not boring. So they attract more people.
Yes, that's true too. Yes.
Yeah.
It makes a little bit more interesting. Okay, so guys, we still going to continue here a little bit more, but I know that Max has a hard shut off at 8, right? So we need to leave. So Max, thanks a lot, man, for joining us here today. Is there any message that you want to say before we say goodbye?
Oh, I must thank you, and it's a honor to be here with you guys, learning much more every time that I see that you are coming streaming. I go there and watching just to say hello, because I learn a lot. and
we're even streaming in your channel, so thanks a lot for that, Max.
no, no, that's good. Content needs to be shared. I mean, understand, because I don't know your opinion, guys, but there are a lot of content in the internet, but the problem is the best ones. So you need to
Ours is the
filter those
best.
things. Yeah, you need to filter those things. So I think this is the hard way. The right way is to filter the content, and it's the most important thing, that you need to understand how to use the internet in the best way. So I'm very happy to sharing you and to streaming on my channel. It's a honor to me. So thanks a lot. I must go because I need to meet with my friends in TDC coordination as well, because I'm part of the coordination in career in the mentoring track. So I need to go
Right.
there. So
That's-
thanks again.
I was supposed to be there too, right?
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, and I wish you that this kind of session continues, because it will help everyone. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that it's happened. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks everyone to watching us. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Max.
Max.
See you
You're
around.
always welcome,
Bye.
man.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to be here. I will bring you to my channel as well. Don't worry, I will do that in the future.
Very
Thanks.
good. Looking
Bye.
forward to it.
Oh,
Thanks a lot.
thanks, Manny. Thanks. Bye bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
Oh, just let me just tell to the guys here, Ivan and Edu, right, saying that they're saying like we're not saying goodbye yet, guys. We're just saying goodbye, right? So Max has to leave, right? So not us.
Yes. See
Thanks
ya,
a lot,
Max.
That's great,
Thanks,
man.
Max.
All right, so okay,
Well.
so yeah, go ahead. You go.
Oh yeah. Since I got the panel here, I just want to contribute on the Nikita's about this 20 years experience in Java. Why compete for 20 years of experience in Java if you can become first of many? I'm not sure if I understand very well the point here, but
Yeah, he's basically saying that you can create a new market, right? So you could be the first instead
Good.
of being competing to all those to those common jobs. You could be competing for the new things that are coming up.
Great. So I think I understand well. So one thing that I will point here might be that this is true. I think we don't need to keep just thinking that only on the roles that already exists. There are many problems. We are always evolving in those kind of problems, and like in development, we see a lot of different names. It's just and it happens because it's like Manny said, it's broaden. Our responsibility are always broadening. So companies or any place that tries to solve their problem, they want to solve in the best way. So sometimes it's better to split some roles and give a correct name for them. But for and also I see like it's a great challenge also to become the first one. So I believe that it's true, it's possible, it's interesting, but you have to see to be much more aware of your or responsible about your career, and understand very well what kind of problem that you are really trying to solve, or understand very well how you will contribute inside a company or in your own company to become some of those first of many. Otherwise, it will be just a name, like Manny said. So that is, I think that is the biggest challenge for being the first. You have to build the path. You have to you'll be the first. So you have to.
That's a great song that I love, that says, right, if it looks like you're wasting time, right, remember you're the first, you're building the path, right? So
oh, great.
yes, so that's great. Okay, so And then Nikita says here, right, our craft is becoming more and more robust, right? So we need more roles. And I think that's the kind of situation going on more and more, right? So
Mhm.
the bigger the company gets, then we get more specific responsibilities, more divided. But at the same time, we get more like a stronger responsibility, deeper responsibility on something specific, right? So, and I think since Max just mentioned that he's leaving here to go for a meeting on the career track on the developers conference, that's a good example, right? So the developers conference is one of the many events that started way back when as a Java event, right? And then the more the events develop, the more you attracted more people, more developers, and then the developer role start growing, right? So today the developers conference reached so many different things, right? And that's true for DevVox, for example. It was also a Java event called Javapolis in the past, and then it became a developer event. And it's also, although it still have a very strong Java focus, it has blossomed to way more things than only Java. We just had come to Dev Nexus, right? It's a great event in Atlanta, right? And that also it started as a Java event run by the Java user group, and then more and more, right? So it expanded to be more like a broader developer event. So I think we can see that if you get InfoQ, right? A QCon, right? QCon. When I started on QCon or participating on QCon way back when, it was mostly a Java event too, right? And then today it's so much more, so many different tracks. And so I think that's as Nikita said, right, our craft is become more robust, right? We have maybe more specific things, more deeper discussions, and all this kind of thing. So that's awesome, right? So I think we're in a good moment. There's lots of opportunities, lots of things that can happen, right? So and it gets harder to choose too, right? Does it get harder to choose money when you have so many options on the table?
Oh yeah, it gets very confusing, and there is this thing called FOMO, the feeling of missing out.
Right.
What
Yes.
if that other role that you could have chosen was better?
Right.
But these days, there are certain parameters in our industry that when you look at, you can sometimes see it's too good to be true. And sometimes then it's best to just always stick to what you know. Hence, when those new roles come out, unless I have known it from someone inside the company and they kind of vouch for it, like hey, this is a genuine role, this is what you're going to do, it's called so and so, then it's different from hearing from first hand from someone I don't know, right?
Right.
So that then you want to do choosing, because obviously even someone might tell you something that might change, but at least you can trust that someone more than the first person you just met and they try to sell you this role that you've never heard of, right? So that's something to be aware of it, because the people are disappearing so quickly, and in the sense that they're getting absorbed by companies so quickly that many companies can become
by aliens.
no, yeah, no. I wanted to make clear that it's not that the case. That's why I changed it to say they're getting absorbed by companies, and so uh, and so and I had mentioned this sometime in my previous talks as well. Some companies can get a bit crafty with the way they are advertising their roles and selecting the people, and the recruitment process happens. And so till the end, even after you get the role, sometimes you don't know what you got, right? So especially with new names like this, then the story can be anything, right? Once you got the role, so no, this is what we do, this is the meaning of this role. I'm sorry, you're not probably used to it because you call yourself an engineer, but over here, this is what we do in a developer performance engineer role, right? Because they define the new name, so they define the new role. So something to watch out for as well.
Guys, I'm gonna have to get let me move here, because I want to point out a little bit of that discussion here, because we have been discussing a lot right lately. What we call the beyond senior roles, right? And so by chance, that's what's on my board here, because we had a workshop on beyond senior roles a few days ago, right? And I think that it's very interesting that when you get to that, a lot of people become senior, right? and they get stuck here, right? They don't grow. I mean, I was talking to a guy the other day that he started working with Java in a Java 1.0 version, right? So that's like
25 years ago.
1997, right? So yeah. Then basically, but he had 25 years of experience, right? At least, right? And then, but he's still a senior developer, right? And I think that's one thing that these new roles are kind of maybe kind of confusing people, right? Because there are roles beyond senior developer, right? And so I think the one thing, there's a lot of things in here in the board I'm not going to explain, but the one thing that I think is important for us to see, that all those roles here have a deeper level of responsibility and a deeper level of independence, right? Those roles here are roles that require you to be more independent, to be more, to be more responsible for what you're doing, to be less dependent on people telling you what to do, right? And I think that all those roles that we're discussing here, they reflect that, right? They reflect that, and I think it's kind of bringing this discussion back to the whole idea of the skills gap, right? And I think that those new roles require different levels of skills, right? And the gap becomes that, yes, those roles require new skills. They require different level of responsibility. The market is requesting that. And you're waiting someone to tell you, so you need to learn that, right? But a lot of times the skill gap depends on you looking, man, that's a great thing. I can see that's an opportunity for me. And then you can put yourself into those positions. You can put yourself into taking those responsibilities and be more independent, be more responsible, and pushing yourself into those new positions. So I think that's kind of bridging the gap, right? Bridging the skill gap for yourself, right?
And I think that that many times pushing yourself to some place that you see as opportunity is and is taking the responsibility of your career, and you can think out of the box, like this event name, but it doesn't mean that we just have the options that market creates for us. We can always drive it for our own benefit, and seeing those opportunities. I believe that this is taking control over your career. You are understanding what is your position, what you can bring as value, and who you can help. So if you have all those pieces, I believe that is when you are in control of your career, and you can really go after what you really believe that is valuable for your from your side, and also helpful for the other side.
Yeah, I think very well said, Hugo, and also you, Bruno, because that is a different angle of looking at skills gap. That is more like from yourself propelling to the next level where you got to be, as opposed to skills gap where companies are looking for people because they don't have the skills they need, and they need to have people with better skills. So that's kind of a different perspective, as opposed to you propelling yourself to that next level, or working towards that next level to bridge that gap.
That's cool. All right, so guys, we're gonna get to that moment where we're gonna have to share our books and everything. But before I do, yeah, so Hugo's like, oh, I didn't get.
Oh God, it's books time.
Yes.
I have
Look
forgotten.
after some book here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let you guys know, so you can open up a web page and get your book, right? That the out of the box book suggestion is gonna come up in a minute, but I want to talk about this long message that Ivan mentioned here, right? So he starts saying, by the thing is, the people forget that good IT products succeed with the correct timing, right? So for example, Lucene, right, was created 5 years, he correct later, 5 years after Java. And so those solutions were created on top of that, right? So that's what he thinks. He believes that a lot of other things are going to happen, right? So there's going to be open source projects, open source solutions for artificial intelligence, for IoT and many other things, right? Because yeah, because as he said, right, IT products succeed with the correct timing, right? And then he ties back into the career when he says that so new career roles are being created for those things that are going to happen. Right? So, for example, maybe right now we might have people that are specialists on microservice, for example, but just a few years ago, no one even talked about microservice, right? And so we have a friend of ours, Rodrigo Moutinho. He is a specialist in deployment in a gaming company, right? But just a few years ago, we did not have that. Right? No one was a specialist in deploying, right? In deployment, right? And so I agree with Ivan that those new solutions, new problems they're coming up. Then people there's opportunities for us, right? And sometimes we have even weird things, right? We got. So I was I lived from the movement that moved from ALM, application lifecycle management, to DevOps, right? There was a shift, right? Now we're shifting from DevOps to something else, SRE right now, right? So that's another shift going on. But but we went from just being able to think about the lifetime of the application to where we're going to merge developers and operations into one thing so we can better manage the lifetime of the application. And when the DevOps movement started, everyone was saying, so it's two departments that we're going to merge into one, right? And then a lot of companies went on to say, you know what? We have the dev department, we have the ops department. Now we're going to create the DevOps department, right? So so what does that even mean, right? And then we got the position of a DevOps, right? So think about it, right? The whole notion is that you have developers and operations working together, and then now you have someone that's a DevOps engineer. So he's not even dev nor ops, and he's not actually working together with anyone. Looks like, right? So it's like, so I think that those are I think that's what Ivan is talking about here. That new career roles are being created for all that. And bottom line, right? I love bottom line from Ivan is that you study what makes you happy and you'll be fine. So thanks a lot, Ivan, for that happy thought there, because I agree, right? I think that focus on what matters to you, focus on what it's not necessarily what makes you happy, right? But things that you are excited about, right? Things that you want to solve, problems that you want to, that you really want to say, that is something that I care about, right? So it's not necessarily happy, but that you care about. Focus on things that you care about, and I think that you'll be fine. I agree with Ivan, right? You're gonna be fine. All right. So did I give enough time, guys, for you to think about the books?
Yeah, I think so. I actually pasted a couple of books already in there. I think I saw Hugo sneak in one, so I think that was good buffer room for us to do the thinking in the background. But just
All
to
right, so go ahead.
validate.
Start with yours. So what would be your suggestion for the out of the box book? What the out of the box developer should have on their bookcase?
Was that for me or is that for Hugo?
For you, Manny. Yeah, you start,
Okay.
right?
Okay, so
the spotlight already. So.
this is a great book. It's called Back of the Napkin. It's solving problems and selling ideas with pictures. I have a copy here. I highly recommend getting this because it's like solving problems by drawing pictures, diagramming, mind mapping, the whole
That's
thing.
right.
And this is I advocate a lot because developers, we do less of this. We just try to write code and we don't express our ideas in the form of diagrams and pictures. I just shared the link. Yeah. So and this book, if you see, is full of diagrams and pictures. It's not about literature, and
Right.
so it actually shows you how to do things that we don't do in the form of pictures. As you know, picture speaks 1,000 words, but also the whole act of drawing and it's verbalizing your ideas, and then they become more concrete. They're not just wishy-washy, foggy ideas in your head. They become more concrete. And sometimes you actually correct your ideas when you put it on paper. So that's book number 1 recommendation from me.
That's cool, man. Love that. Really, really love
Great.
that. Is it printed on napkins? Asks Nikita.
No, the paper quality is good. I don't think it's napkins. It's good quality paper. It's
All
also an
right.
expensive book, so I think they spend the money in getting.
That's
I mean,
good.
it's probably available cheaper now on Amazon. But
Right. Yeah. So that's the name of the book, right? Back of the napkin: solving problems and selling ideas with picture, right? So yeah. So take a look at that book, right? Put on. Let me just kind of give a little hint here. Something that I love to do, and I do this all the time here on this group, right? So every time someone suggests me a book, right? I mean, you can do this with different apps, but I do this with the Kindle, right? So basically, what I do is I go online on Amazon and I say, get a sample. That's simple, right? That means that Amazon is going to send me a sample for the book for free, right? It gets on my reading list, and then I can start reading the book, right? So I can read the book for the first 10 pages or 15 pages. I don't know how the samples are calculated, but I can start reading the book, and if I like it, I can then go ahead and buy it, right? And so that has really helped me a lot, because a lot of times I will scroll my reading list, say, oh, that's a great book, that I mean to read that one, and I start reading it, and then I love it, and then I buy and I keep reading it. And sometimes I get a book that someone suggested and I start reading it, like, oh man, that I don't like. I don't like the style, or I don't like what the guy's talking about, or it's not interesting for me at the moment. And so that's a suggestion for me, for you, all of you guys. Just click on that link that we put in the chat, download the sample, and leave in your Kindle app, so you can have whenever you're ready to read, you can just go ahead and read it.
Good.
That's amazing. That's a great tip. I hope you're not a secret Amazon advocate of some.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not an Amazon advocate for I just but I'm a Kindle advocate. I am. Right. I think I just think that the Kindle, it has helped me. I love the Kindle both ways, right? As an author and as a reader, right? For me, the Kindle has helped me a lot. I have my books there. They are either very cheap or for free, right? That people can read. And so for me as an author, the Kindle has been awesome. And also as a reader, the Kindle has been awesome. So, I love it.
Great.
Great.
And by the way, I'm not advocating that you buy a Kindle, right? You can do exactly what I just told you without paying anything to Amazon. But Bruno, I don't like Amazon. That's okay. You just install a free Kindle app on your phone, and then you read the sample for free. And then whenever you decide to buy the book, you go somewhere else and buy the book, right? So yeah, you don't need to buy anything from Amazon to follow my tip.
Yeah, but there are also plenty of free books available on Kindle that you don't even have to buy.
That's true too. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Cool,
All right,
Hugo.
so
It's
Hugo,
your turn now. Yeah.
Yeah, I just see a message here from Pedro Cavallero. He said that he read my book, and of course I will share my book, but I will share other book also for this session, just to give a chance for others to download my ebook. It's a free book about one of the series of low hanging series, and it's low hanging software architecture. So anyone that wants to start with the software architecture or having the first contact with that, it's a good start. So they will have three very common architectural patterns to use in their projects. And yeah, thanks Pedro for reminding me. And this for today, as you see me looking after one book to share with you guys, I will share this. I read a long time ago. It's called Team Geek, and it helped me a lot to have some ideas about working with the team and working better with the team. And I believe that one of the authors are some contributor from Apache project, and yeah, there are many interesting concepts inside. And if you are looking for making those steps towards a higher to grow in your career, you can always think about in the team that you're working with, how to work better with them. So it will be helping everyone around you. So you'll be assuming much more responsibilities also. So that's my tip for today.
That's awesome. That sounds an awesome book right there. And that connects directly to what Nikita was talking about here. Nikita said here that's being big back here said I'm especially good in making developers work better together, right? So that's great.
Oh yeah.
So
I hope.
That's
Yeah, I mean, work culture is a super important topic next to hiring people in the tech industry, because that's one of the questions we have as well. How do you retain? How do you hire somebody and then retain them? Right? It's like if the working culture is not there, the working together culture is not there, then you're not going to be able to maintain talent in your team or in other teams. So that this book will be a great one to help understand how to develop that and maintain that and keep that.
That's awesome. All right, and so let me just quickly show here, the Hugo's book, right? So it's on the chat, right? So if you take a look in the chat, the low-hanging software architectures, get it here for free, right? So you can just follow that URL right there, and you can get that. Assuming we get organized at some point, that's going to be in the links below, right? We actually got to go back to our previous out of the box recordings, right, and see all the links and then put the links on because we're failing a little bit on that, but we're going to get there eventually, right? That is a continuous improvement process, right? We're not perfect yet. We're never going to be perfect anyway, right? So there's always something that we got to improve. Okay, so go download Hugo's book. That's going to be great. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Can I cheat a little bit here today?
Yeah, go ahead. It's your show.
I'm not going to talk about a book, right? So there's one thing I want to tell you guys about that I'm very excited. We're getting close to the International Developers Career Day, right? The International Software Developer Career Day. That's an event that we've been running for a few years now. And it's a whole day focus on your career, focus on the developer career. We talk about tools, techniques, ideas, career tips, everything, right? So
Hugo, I think Bruno has frozen.
So Hugo's frozen too. You guys see me?
Yeah, you were frozen, and then Hugo froze, and he got disconnected.
Right. Okay. Oops. So yes,
Hugo's here. Back in. Okay, what happened just now?
Okay, good. So I don't know where I got froze, but I kept hearing you guys. So I'm just going to repeat this, right? The International Software Developer Career Day. It's not really only an event. Like it's a day, right? It's a day for us to celebrate and improve our developer careers, right? So I've been running this event for a few years now, and there's a lot of Java champions that participate on that event, a lot of open source developers, a lot of book authors that participate there. Money was there last year and the year before, so hopefully Money is going to be there again this year. So I'd like to invite all of you guys, right? So, and then you can say, Bruno, how I get to it? We're gonna open the registration page this weekend, right?
So wow,
yeah. So if you are on my email list, you can you're gonna receive an email, right? Let you know. If you're not on my email list, you can go to code4.life and join me on my email list so you can get notified. But we're gonna announce that this weekend, right? So actually, let me just tell you this: the one thing I'm going to be waiting for to announce the event is for Money to suggest his talk, right? As soon as Money submit his talk, I'm going to announce the event, right? Money has to be there, right? I'm not going to announce the event without Money's talk, Also, right. Hugo has already submitted his talk. Haven't you, Hugo? I think I saw your name there. Maybe I'm mistaken. But Money, see you there. You got in your inbox, you got an invite to submit your talk. So take your time, but just a little bit pressure of you, Money. As soon as you submit your talk, I'm going to announce the event. So
Okay, I got to see that. I got to see that mail come in so that I can submit
it's there.
something. Because
It's there in your inbox, right? It's you receive, you maybe have you maybe receive twice, right? You maybe receive once on the Java Champions mailing list and another one on the Java Group mailing list. So maybe you receive it twice. Take a look at that.
Right. Okay. In that sense. Okay.
I'll send you a link directly to Money. Don't worry. You don't need to look for the email. I'm going to send you.
Okay.
So, guys, I'd like to invite all of you to be part. So, the International Developer Career Day happens on on the first Friday of August, right? And it is on the same day as the International Beer Day, right? So it has everything to do with our careers. So join us that for an amazing event.
Yeah, I think we should share this link in
No, don't share this link, because that's for the speakers only. So don't share that
okay.
link. Yeah,
sure.
so
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, so Nikita has already there, right? Nikita's already going to be a speaker there, right? So yes, everything's going to work awesome.
Great.
All right, so a little cheating here. I'm not going to talk about a book today.
That's much better than a book, Bruno.
Yeah, I think so.
So here's why I'm not cheating. I can guarantee you that if you come to the International Developer Career Day, you're going to have a lot of book indication from a lot of different speakers. How about that, right? So I'm giving you
exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
Book indications.
Yeah, but also think about it like this: every speaker must have gone through a number of books, and so they put their content into their presentation, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
Being at even one talk means you got references from multiple books, at least one book, if not more.
Perfect. Okay, guys, is there anything else you guys want to discuss here? Anything that we missed for today, or any question you that are watching us are having that we did not answer? I'm just going to take a look here.
I think we had a very lively community today, talking to us and sharing a lot of ideas, more than we can actually talk about in this session. But I think Ivan has been very active in the last 30 minutes. Nikita as well from since the beginning. So I think we've had a great feedback from our community, and our whole conversation has been shaped up with all of this conversation that has been coming in, the messages that have been coming in from the community.
That's awesome. Yeah. Great. So I'd like to thank Ivan and Pedro. Pedro said that he read Hugo's book, right? So very good. So thanks, Pedro. And Nikita, right? So Nikita, he did submit his talk, right? Because I've seen his talk there on the list, right? So that's great. So then Nikita's going to be there. Ivan is asking, Bruno has been paused. Maybe I look like I did, right? So it was just a dramatic pause, right? Just so you guys pay attention to the announcement of the event, right?
Yeah, interestingly, only Hugo and Bruno paused, and everything else was working fine, at least for me. So maybe for you guys, it was the other way around.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, guys. So Hugo, do you want to, Money? Do you want to say the last message there, and so we can end this?
Yeah, so I mean, once again, great, massive thanks to Hugo and Bruno for putting this together. They have a lot more busier career and a busier day and a busier life than myself. And also to you guys who've come here, taking your time off on a Friday afternoon, evening, morning, whatever part of the world you're from, to participate in the last hour plus of this whole conversation, contributing and validating our comments. So, I mean, I can't thank you enough. And please keep coming back. I know we try to be here every 2 weeks, but sometimes it becomes a month. But you can understand we all have busy schedules. Once again, thank you for doing what you're doing, and please spread the word and come to Bruno's International Career Day happening soon. I'll hopefully see you all there.
Perfect. It's going to be awesome, right? It's so the International Career Day is exactly a month away, right? So we're going to do maybe one or two of these conversations before we get to that day, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
That's going to be awesome. All right, guys. So how about you, Hugo?
Oh, just want to thanks everyone for this opportunity. It was a great discussion here. I think we could discuss a lot about our thoughts here, and also answer some questions, and hopefully help anyone that was looking for those discussions around skills gaps. So thanks everyone.
Okay. So thanks everyone. It was great. And I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, right? So thanks a lot. I just want to finish this with one really thing here, guys. This whole discussion of the skills gap, right? And the best way for you to bridge that gap is for you to have good friends. Your friends are going to be the ones experimenting things and seeing things, and they can help you, right? If you have lots of friends, each one experimenting different things, right? Then when you need something, you have a friend that can help you bridge the gap, right? So, look for good friends. Encircle yourself with people that want to grow their careers. And for me, it's a big honor that I'm part of this group here, because working with Manny, working with Hugo, those are two guys that are so amazing. They're really focused on their careers. They're really focused on helping other people grow their careers. So for me, it's a big honor to be here. So thank you for watching. But today I want to particularly thank Manny and Hugo for making this whole thing happen. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
Bruno.
Thanks.
See you around. Bye-bye.
Bye.